there everyone, Happy New Year. I am back with another video for you guys today with my brand new Snowball microphone that I got for Christmas, so thank you very much, Mum. It's amazing. The audio is so much goddamn better. So anyway, before I get into my top 10 list of 2019, I just want to throw in a few quick disclaimers. The first one is, I didn't see every movie in 2019, so unfortunately films like Parasite, The Irishman and Little Women are not going to be on this list despite being praised by critics and fans alike. So anyway, that disclaimer, and another one is, there are a few films on my list which technically came out in 2018, but they didn't have a UK release until 2019, so if anyone thinks like, hang on, that came out 2 years ago, no, technically in my country it didn't. So now that we've cleared that up, let's get on with the honourable mentions. Green Book is a great character growth movie, and the chemistry between Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali is on point. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, while a messy story, has some great fan service and nostalgic moments, and to me has a pretty satisfying ending to the Skywalker saga. And finally, Us is one of the most unique horrors I've seen for a long time. Jordan Peele is the kind of director who really dives into the details and does his research to connect this film to real world events. Okay, so with the honourable mentions out of the way, it's time to get into the actual top 10. Now, coming in at number 10 is Fighting With My Family. Now, I wasn't even interested in this girl's story until now, because this is the true story of Paige. The highlight of this film is the family dynamic between Paige and her brother Zach. Now, I really bought them as brother and sister, the fuse they had between each other, the way they overcome obstacles and just, grow from each other. Now, the front cover was a little misleading, because it's got Dwayne Johnson on the front cover, and you think to yourself, well, The Rock's in this film, he's going to be Paige's mentor. That's not the case in this film. He pops up every now and then, but it's a great marketing technique if you ask me, so I don't really blame the company for doing it. But overall, Fighting With My Family has some great family dynamic moments. It's heartwarming, and some of the scenes just make you smile all the way through, and I love this film. I bought it on Blu-ray the moment it come out, and I'll probably watch it again in future. Again, to what most people see as a downgrade from the first one, but to me, I think this is an improvement. Zombieland Double Tap. The Zombieland Double Tap has that great family dynamic between all the characters once again. Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone and Abigail Breslin. Doesn't seem like anything has changed. If you watch the first one and then immediately watch this one, it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years since the first film, and you have some great new performances from Rosario Dawson and Zoe Deutsch. But what I love most about the film and why it's on my list is that it does what a sequel should. It gives you more of what you had before and amplifies it. And to me, it's better than the first one. I stated that in my review. I think it's better than the first one. Again, I didn't really get very nice comments about that, but what do you expect? This is YouTube after all. Now, to no one else's surprise, but just my own, this movie probably isn't on anyone else's top 10 list, but it's on mine. It Chapter 2. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a downgrade from the first one, and the plot's a little messy in places, and then there's the middle sequence of the film where the losers are trying to find an artifact to link to the past to try and remember. They have an encounter with Pennywise, and that repeats about 5 times in a row. Yeah, I get all that, but overall, this film had some of the best performances I saw this year. Bill Hader and James McAvoy completely knocked it out the park. I thought they were both incredible. The chemistry between everyone, they all bounce off each other. Bill Skarsgård is great once again as Pennywise, and I thought that these adults in this film were the perfect portrayals of the younger kids that we had in the 2017 film. Excellent casting choices, and that's why it deserves a spot on my list. Doesn't have to be on yours, but it's definitely on mine. Toy Story 4 was not a movie I was looking forward to, with mediocre trailers, and I thought to myself, well, Toy Story 3 had the perfect closure to this entire thing, so why play with fire and make another one? But then again, this movie surprised the hell out of me. This is a beautiful, well-told story. Andy's story comes to a close, but the toys continue to have their own purpose in life, and this is mainly focused on like Woody and Bo Peep. Like, you don't really get much from the rest of them. I mean, they make Buzz an idiot again, but I found that quite funny. Introduce new likable characters like Forky, Ducky and Bunny, Duke Kaboom, and Gabby Gabby. Forky was one of those characters which it was so easy that he could have been annoying. But he wasn't. He was actually one of my favourites of the entire thing. The characters definitely haven't lost their touch. The actors haven't lost their touch. Toy Story 4 is a beautiful, heartwarming scene with an incredibly sad ending, and still gets me in the heart to this very day. I remember stating in an old review that I wasn't interested in seeing this film or reviewing it, but I was going to go see it anyway because I'm an unlimited member at the cinema which I go to, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go see what looked like a comedy from the trailers, and then when I watched it, oh my god, Instant Family is one of the most emotionally gripping movies that I've seen for a very long time. Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne were absolutely incredible, but the standout, I think, is Isabella Merced. Back then she was known as Isabella Mona, so please don't get confused with that. I just thought that the characters, they all clicked together. One really touchy subject for me is adoption and how people will take, like, someone else's kid on and raise them as their own. I think that's a beautiful thing. And this film just completely knocks it out the park for me. I found myself crying in the cinema. Like, me and my friend, we were literally crying, legit tears running down my face because of how much this movie was getting to me. It does what a drama film should. Like, it doesn't just have lows, it has highs as well, which is what I think's the mistake with most, like, soaps you see on British TV nowadays. Like, constantly something's going wrong, but this one, stuff that goes wrong, which amplifies the drama, but then you have, like, highs as well. It just makes you smile. And the very end, when Kurt and Ellie Wagner, played by Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne, actually adopt these kids officially as a family, I just lost it. It's beautiful. And I bought this film on Blu-ray and I've watched it several times since, and each and every time it gets me right in the heart. Instant family is a blessing, and I'm glad this film came out, and I'm glad I went to see it, and I'm glad that I reviewed it. There's a link down in the description for it. I highly recommend this film. Go check it out. This film is probably on everybody's top 10 list, and it's definitely on mine too. Marriage Story, starring Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. It's the story, this breathtaking story of a divorce and the process of what a divorce is like. Now, I've never been married, so I don't know exactly how this feels. I imagine it touches home on quite a lot of people. But the performances in this film are absolutely breathtaking. Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver probably give the best performances I've ever seen them do. It's been like two of my favourite actors in the whole entire industry, and just seeing them together in this film and just blowing me away with these performances. The one scene which really gripped me emotionally was the scene where they were in Adam Driver's flat and they were discussing what they were going to do with the kid, because they have a son together, which makes everything just even more complicated. And the performances they were giving, the arguing back and forth, it seemed like a real argument, and I felt like I was in the moment, like I was in the room, listening to two of my best friends arguing. It was dreadful to listen to, actually. It's like one of those things which is like incredibly unsettling. You feel like you're in there listening to your best friends fall apart. And it was just, wow. I don't really think it has that much rewatchability to it, but I'll probably watch it again in future. But overall, the performances in this film are great, and I highly recommend you check it out. Don't worry about going to the theatre, it's on Netflix. Please don't let this dampen your perspective on Rian Johnson as a director. Yes, he pretty much shit all over Star Wars, but this film is incredible. Knives Out, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Toni Collette, Michael Shannon, Jamie Lee Curtis. There's some great actors and big names in this. He has a complete unique twist on the whodunit and why. But this film just completely blew me away with some of the performances and some of the twists and turns. You think the film's going in a certain way, but it's not. It just twists it around and leads you in a completely different direction. And then you're like, okay, so if that's not the case, then what is? And then when you think you figured it out again, really, you haven't. That's what grips me most about this film, and I thought the performances were great. Daniel Craig probably puts on the best performance I've ever seen him do. I haven't seen any 007 films, so please, I can't really rate him for that. But this film had a passion of being funny as well, like maybe unintentionally funny, but the tone is just amazing. And I suggest that you go watch Knives Out. Rian Johnson, I really look forward to seeing what else you do. Just please stay away from Star Wars. I haven't seen this anywhere on anyone's top list, and I'm actually surprised because Spider-Man Far From Home is probably one of the best Spider-Man films I've seen for a long time. I still don't technically think it tops Spider-Man 2 or Into the Spider-Verse, but this film is great. Tom Holland proves once again why he's the best live-action adaptation of this character. There's just a certain charm to him. This guy was born to play Spider-Man. Stan Lee's own words even said that. I mentioned it in my review, which is also in the description. You can check that out if you want. A great new villain from Mysterio, and a twist which I kind of saw coming. But I think everyone knows Mysterio is a bad guy anyway. So this is the moment where Peter Parker steps out of Tony Stark's shadow and decides that he's going to be the one to save the world this time. He's going to step up and become the Spider-Man that we all know he is. And it gave us what I've been waiting for this character for a long time. A swinging montage with Tom Holland. He's swinging through the city of New York right at the end of the film. And he's carrying Mary Jane with him at one point, and I think, yeah, that reminds me. Zendaya and Tom Holland, the chemistry between them is iconic, I think. Maybe they were a couple in real life, I'm not really sure if they are now, but I heard something about them dating, and maybe that can help with on-screen chemistry. But I think the film dived into just enough about MJ's backstory, but they could have done a little more with her. That was mainly one of the issues I had with the film. Plus the reveal of Spider-Man, like Mary Jane finding out that he is Spider-Man, was kind of wrecked in the trailer, but that was the only problems I had with it, really. This overall is a great MCU film, and I think it's in my top 10. I can't remember where I put it exactly, but I'll revisit it over and over again. Spider-Man Far From Home is an absolute win. Nobody's laughing now. You can say that again, pal. Joker. This film, wow. I had no idea that I'd actually enjoyed this film as much as I did. When I heard they were going to make a film about the Joker, like an origin story, I thought, I like the mystery behind the Joker. I like the fact that no one knows who he is. But I thought this film made the origin story interesting. It dived deep into like mental health and how this guy was pushed over the edge to eventually become the iconic villain that we all know he is now. Joaquin Phoenix is incredible. This guy, again, is the best, probably one of the best Jokers I've seen since Heath Ledger. He's up there with Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill anyway. I mean, Jared Leto, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Kind of a shame, because I thought maybe if there was a little more footage with Jared Leto, we could have had something maybe special, but at the end of the day, I don't really think about it at the moment, because Joaquin Phoenix is the only Joker which I'm thinking about at the moment. Like, the music choices were just incredible, the way the music booms in the background. Just even if Joaquin Phoenix is just walking down a corridor, you hear this score blast in the background. It really sets the tone perfectly. But it makes you, but the film also makes you wonder, is all this going on in the Joker's head at the same time? There are certain scenes where the Joker is talking to his therapist. In the background, you'll notice that the clock is stuck on the same time every single time. Whether that's just because those are the times of his appointments, or maybe he's imagining this entire thing. So it's a psychological thriller, and I'm interested in seeing more of this character. I really hope that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is introduced into future DC films. Maybe bring him into the Matt Reeves Batman. That'll be even better. Joker, great film. And with how much of a nerd I am, I think people already knew what was going to be at my top. It's Avengers Endgame. Of course, it's Avengers Endgame. This film brought up 11 years worth of story building, characters, and it brought it to an epic climactic close, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. Take a shot for the amount of times I said incredible in this video, I bet you'll be on your ass. Infinity War was practically a Thanos story, but this one is purely focused on the Avengers and how they're going to get back at the Mad Titan themselves. Now, I had loads and loads of speculations and theories in my head, but none of them actually panned out the way I thought. I thought time travel would be something along the lines of what was going on in the film, but I didn't know it was going to be escalated in that particular way. It brought a great close to Iron Man's story, to Cap's story, to a bunch of other stories of these characters which we've grown to love over 11 years. What I can respect about the film the most is that it sacrificed the fact of being a huge action-packed blockbuster, and it sacrificed that element for the emotional punch, and I thought it worked perfectly. But they did use the climactic action thing within the last 20 minutes, but before that, it's mainly just characters talking with a bit of action here and there. It really gets you invested in the characters, it builds all the characters up, with some very sad death scenes, even though I already knew about both of them before going into the film. One, like a kid outside the cinema ruined the one, and my drunken mate ruined the other one. Avengers Endgame is my favourite film of 2019, everyone. I've had a blast this year. There are still a couple of films which I need to see, like, maybe if I do watch films like The Irishman or Little Women, it will hit the top 10, but since I've already made this video now, I'll probably just put a post up on Instagram updating my list if anything changes. I've had a fantastic year, everyone. It's been a great year for film. I've loved doing YouTube whenever I get a chance to. New Year's resolutions is to be more consistent on this channel. Well, my new channel, which I'm going to make, which I will put a separate video up explaining what I'm going to be doing about that. This video, my top 10 worst of 2019 and a Rise of Skywalker review will be my last videos on this particular channel before I move over to something completely different. Turn the channel I've got now into something different, and I'm going to try and rebuild my channel from scratch without the sub requests, because I reckon I can grow properly from that way. If it takes me like 100 videos or 3 years just to get 100 subscribers, then so be it. I want to do this properly. I want my numbers to be real, not fake. So overall, guys, I've had a great time. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content just like this. Remember, you are awesome. Take care.